One of the unique things that CEO Advisory Group does is we have a program called Lessons Learned, where we go into the credit union and interview the staff subsequent to the integration of the two credit unions to capture what the best practices are. Some of the things that we would look at, for example, is communication. How often, and what channels of communication that were being used, what was effective, what was not so effective in terms of reaching out to the membership. I think staff issues are really one of the big issues, and a lot of that comes down to cultural differences and how do you communicate most effectively changes for your staff, and when do you communicate those changes to the staff, and personnel changes, understanding who's the right person for the right jobs, how do you go about making those types of decisions. And so those have been some of the issues that we've wrestled with in this the lessons learned process. So we go through the discovery process and have a discussion with the teams. And the teams actually, they will work to brainstorm ideas in terms of what worked and what didn't work, and come up with recommendations in terms of they think if they make certain changes, those changes would be more beneficial in the future. And then in addition to that, on the basis of work that I've done with other credit unions, I draw other conclusions on the top of some of the issues that have been raised by the credit union to see what are best practices that other credit unions have chosen to use that this particular credit union did not. And an example would be, for instance, goal setting. So some credit unions will go into merger and they don't have very clearly defined goals going into the merger. So, and we found, well, that can create some problems down the line, because now the board is suddenly starting to ask the questions, well, did you meet your goals? And there's an unclarity what the end goal of the merger would be in terms of membership growth or profitability growth and the timing and such of that. So we need to really set some very clear expectations in terms of what is the end result, what is success, what is not success, because otherwise there's going to be a real mix of attitudes and opinions in terms of whether or not a particular merger was successful, and those are best addressed up front. I think one of the great things about working with a third-party consultant is having worked with multiple credit unions on implementations and learning what are the best practices. Though that's really knowledge that I can take to the next credit union merger that I do. So, the more we share as credit unions, the stronger we all become, and the more successful the mergers are going to be, and ultimately, how the members will benefit from that.